Hi everybody, welcome to my Big Tidy Up. My name's DeDe. Thanks for coming by my channel today. Now today, here's what I got on the menu. Today I'm going to be working around my home and I'm going to be sharing with you my tips and tricks on how to stay organized, reduce stress, and not go insane during the holiday season. Now you'll note I didn't say eliminate stress because I don't know that we can do that, but we definitely can bring it down, reduce our stress level by things that we can do ahead of time. So I'm going to be sharing everything that works for me and maybe it'll work for you too. So without any further ado, let's start talking about these tips and tricks. Let's keep our sanity and let's get tidy. Now, as I prepared for this video, I did ask on all of my social medias, what are some of your biggest stress points when it comes to the holidays? And boy, did I get a lot of answers. Now, I hated to see that folks were stressed, but it did make me feel a little bit better knowing that I wasn't the only one. But I'm going to talk about the 4 main stressors that people mention the most, and preparing meals and being in the kitchen was one of the top 4. And that does make perfect sense since so much of the holidays are centered around food. Now, one thing I like to do as far as baking, and if you don't bake a lot, this may not apply to you, but I want to make sure that I have all of my baking supplies, have all those dry ingredients, and I can tell already this will not be enough sugar to get me through the holidays, so I need to add that to my list. But I do go ahead, I check the dates on everything. Now I use these containers to store all my dry goods, and I put the dates on the bottom, but you can see I'm already starting to prepare because I've got marshmallow fluff, and I don't want to be searching for marshmallow fluff when everyone else is searching for marshmallow fluff. Now, I know there are certain items like your fresh produce that you can't get way in advance, but you can get those dry ingredients, those canned goods, your seasonings. Those you can definitely get ahead of time. And planning your menu way in advance buys you time to start picking those items up ahead of time. Now, I try to plan my menu ahead of time, and if there are recipes that I'm using, I get that recipe out and I check it because every time I think, oh, I'm going to remember that, oh, inevitably there's something I've forgotten and it costs me an extra trip and extra time in the end. So anything I can do ahead of time, I'm going to do it. And a couple of days in advance of the big meals, you can chop your vegetables, measure them out, put them in Ziploc bags. So when it's time to put everything together, it's so much quicker. You've got all the prep work done. You just dump your items in and go. And another tip I use to make my holiday meals just a little bit less chaotic is I do make some dishes in advance. I just have to put them in the oven on that special day. And there are so many things like casseroles or pasta dishes that I think absolutely become more flavorful if they're allowed to sit in their seasoning before they cook. Another thing I like to take care of way ahead of time is to make sure I have enough dishes and silverware for everyone that I may be hosting. Now, I do have my table set out here, but if you're someone that has a real large group of people that you're hosting, this would be the time to make sure that you have enough dishes. A lot of tableware just comes in sets of 4 or 8, so if you have an odd number of guests, you may be needing dishes. And this might be the time to head to Walmart or Dollar Tree, places where you can buy some individual plates. Or maybe you use paper plates. Now is still the time. Now, we're a family. We use both. There are times we use actual dishes during the holidays. Then there are times we use paper plates. The same goes with silverware. Now is the time to make sure you've got everything you need for those big meals. Now today, I'm just taking a few extra minutes to sort all the plastic forks, knives, and spoons. I've been kind of lazy and just thrown them all in a big bag, so I don't even know what I have or if I need to add some more to it, but I'd rather do it today than when I'm trying to get snacks or food laid out. I'm just going to sort them now. That way I can pull out whatever kind of utensil we need at the time and move on with my day. Now, I know it seems like a small thing, but all these small things add to chaos. At least it does in my kitchen. So if I can do the small things now, it will make the big things go much smoother. Another tip that helps me stay organized is to get my appliances ready to go. Now, here in the oven, I use this cookie sheet to collect all my drips. I don't have a lot of deep cleaning to do in my oven because the cookie sheet collects everything and takes care of it. So if you've never tried using a cookie sheet lined with foil, the holidays may be a good time to do it. Now, I am going to have to go ahead and clean this door. You know, the cookie sheet doesn't take care of this, so I will be cleaning it. But once I get it done, I am going to head over here. I'm going to take care of a few small appliances. I'm going to clean my toaster in case some of my guests want to make toast. And then one thing that really gets neglected, and I can't blame it on the holidays, it is my can opener. So I know I'm going to be using this can opener a lot, and I don't know if I can get the angle right, but you can definitely see it's not good. So I'm going to take care of it today as well. So I've got my oven door to clean. I've got my toaster. I've got my can opener. Now my microwave is okay right now, but it'll be used a lot between now and the big meals. So I'm sure as time goes by, it's going to need a quick wipe down as well. Well, the foil wasn't that bad, but since I was already in the oven, I went ahead and did it. And yes, if you ever want to line a cookie sheet or any kind of baking pan during the holidays, it works so much better if you take the foil and put it on the outside first and then mold it and then drop it to the inside. It works great. You never have to worry about poking your finger through the foil when you're trying to get into the corners. It's just such an easy way to do it. This really didn't take me very long at all, and since I've been using the cookie sheet with foil, I haven't even had to use oven cleaner. I just used a multi-purpose cleaner, then I grabbed a little tiny piece of magic eraser to use with the multi-purpose cleaner to clean the glass. Then I rinsed out my cleaning cloth, wiped it down one last time, and I was done.
Tell me what you're thinking, give me what you're drinking. Tell me what you're thinking, give me what you're drinking.
Now, cleaning up my toaster and my can opener are things that really don't take a lot of time, which is why it is a mystery to me why I don't do it more often. But I really think there has been a shift in my thinking. I'm really trying not to sweat the small stuff anymore, and so sometimes I think I forget the small stuff, because I have always had this tendency to stress over the smallest, little, ridiculous things. I mean, I think of things that could possibly happen that will never happen. I create stress. And I think the holidays sometimes can intensify that tendency. I think we all have this picture of a perfect holiday. Maybe it's what we had or what we thought we had when we were little. Maybe it's what we saw in a holiday movie. And maybe it's gotten worse with social media and you see all these beautiful holiday decorations, beautiful holiday meals, and somehow it makes us feel like we're behind the curve if we don't have those things or if our holiday looks different. And when I asked everyone what were some of your stresses, some of the main answers were meals, gifts, time management. But some answers that were sent to me were trying to give their kids the perfect holiday memories gave them stress. Thinking that their holiday meal wasn't as good as their in-laws' holiday meal. They were stressed that their gifts to their coworkers wouldn't be as good as what the other coworkers gave. And one answer that really hit home with me, they got stressed over being stressed. And oh my goodness, that is so me, because I stressed over being stressed. And if I'm not stressed, then I'm concerned I forgot something, which causes me to be stressed. But as I was looking at the answers, the majority of every stress came with the word comparison. Comparing their meal to someone else's, comparing their memory to someone else's memories, comparing their gifts to someone else's gifts. And I know I've said this before, but comparison really is the thief of joy. So maybe if we can all find our own holiday happiness, regardless of what anyone else is doing, I think that would relieve a lot of stress for all of us, myself included. The last thing I want to do here in the kitchen to make me a little more organized for the holidays are just check my food storage containers. I'm going to need containers for my leftovers that will stay here, but also for my guests to take home. And it's always nice to send leftovers with your guests, but I never want to send a container with anyone that they feel like they have to be responsible to return. It becomes a burden to them. So I save my lunch meat containers, I save these whipped topping containers, butter tubs, sour cream tubs, all of those things, so it's real convenient for my guests to take leftovers. Also, these disposable trays are so convenient to use when you're packing up an entire meal for someone because everything is all together and they can just put it in the oven to preheat. Now, Ziploc baggies are good too to send leftovers home, but it does get a little dicey when you're bagging up the gravy. Now I've headed upstairs, and one of the things that really can stress us out is getting gifts and getting those gifts prepared. Now, one thing I like to do is have a few emergency gifts on hand. Now, I'm not saying just because someone gives you a gift that you are obligated to give them one back, but sometimes no matter how hard you try, you inevitably forget someone. So to avoid that, I have started keeping a running Christmas list. Now, I do have the list underneath because I don't want my people seeing what I've got them, because I do have some gift spot, but I can keep it here. I keep it updated on the computer, and it lets me know who I still need to buy for or where I'm at. And I have found that it helps me if I put my gift giving into 4 different categories: family, friends, co-workers, and service providers, like your hairstylist, your mail carrier, your housekeeper. Well, I don't have a housekeeper, but if I did, I would surely buy him or her something. And I try to have a preset amount. That way I know what I'm going to spend on each of the categories. And honestly, it's not always easy because there's always someone that's going to give you something a little bit over the top. And then there's someone who's always going to give you a little bit less. I can't let those factors determine how much I'm going to spend. I just need to keep in my price range and what I've already determined. And yes, it may limit my choices, but sometimes that's a good thing. Now, once I have all of my gifts, I do try to keep all of my gifts and my supplies to wrap or bag the gifts all together. Now, I used to hide gifts in one area and then I would have my wrapping supplies somewhere else, and I was constantly moving things. So whether you have a closet or whether you keep it under your bed somewhere, it will be so much easier and you will have less trips if you will keep all of your supplies and your gifts in close proximity. That way, if you have a few extra minutes, you can slip away, wrap a gift or two, and you can just go to one area, just wrap and tag, and you're done. But if you've got to go chase scissors and tape and everything else, it seems like too much to do. So today, I do want to organize my totes. I want to move down the things that I'm going to be using during the holiday season more, and this is going to be my wrapping area. I'm going to keep my gifts here. And this is the perfect time. I'm going to check everything. I'm going to make sure I have all the scotch tape, all the ribbon, the bags, the tissue papers, everything I need to get the job done. And even though this may not be a perfect location, and you may not have a perfect location, this is where I'm staying. This is my gift headquarters. So regardless of where you pick, make sure that you can have all of your things together and make yourself a gift headquarters. Now, sometimes I may be having to wrap on the carpet, but I've decided I will make do. I'll just move a Santa out of the way, and if I need a hard surface, I'll wrap here, but I am going to keep everything in this little hub. It will save me a lot of trips, and it will keep me a lot more organized.
Your body speaks my language and you read me like a book. This night means forever and so does me and you. We say we love, we say we love. We gave it all, we gave it all. We say we love, we say we love. But we were just interesting until something better came along. Sun is coming up, are you ready to go? We can take a ride.
Another stress that had a lot of votes was trying to maintain your home during the holidays. Now, my personal opinion is it is harder to maintain your home during the holidays, and I think it's true for a lot of reasons. One, I think the foot traffic is heavier. I think, as a general rule, we do have more people in and out of our homes during the holidays. We're also using areas we don't always use, such as a guest room, a guest bathroom. Maybe we're using our formal dining room table instead of eating in the kitchen. We also have more things to clean around because, well, we've got Christmas trees, Christmas decor. We also have more messes because, well, glitter. Glitter has entered the building, and if you've got a fresh tree, you've got pine needles you're having to worry about. We also have more dishes because we're preparing bigger meals. We're probably snacking more, feeding more people. We have more trash because we have boxes coming in. We're wrapping, we're unwrapping, all of those things. So when we really stop and think about it, it's no wonder that it's a struggle to keep up with the housework. And let's not forget, we have extra activities taking up our time too, so there's less time to do the housework. Now, I always want my home to look clean and organized for my guests, but I do like it clean and organized just for myself because I think it's good for my mental health. But I also realize time is at a premium and there's other things I want to do. So I try to do my deep cleaning a few weeks before the major holidays. So by the time I get to, say, the second week of December, I'm just trying to maintain. So while I've got the time today, I'm going to tackle some of those jobs. And yes, I'm still going to mop after the second week of December, but I might not be moving that rug every single time. And to keep up with my housework, I try to hit the main traffic areas and I try to keep my drop zones picked up. Now, if you don't have a drop zone, that's wonderful, but I do have a couple. I have one by the back door. There's a little cabinet when you come in from the garage. I tend to leave things there. If I need to take something upstairs, but I'm not going there quite yet, I'll leave it on the cabinet by the front door. So I really try to focus on keeping my zones picked up, putting things away, touching things one time instead of bringing something to like a halfway mark and leaving it there and then having to pick it up later. I just try to take it from the start line to the finish line in one trip.
Anywhere it's homebound, we are kings of the world.
Well, the last stressor I'm going to talk about, it's a doozy. It's time management and keeping it all together when you feel like you're going in so many different directions and you don't have a lot of time. Now, whether you use your phone, a planner, notebook, journal, any kind of device, you've got to get those dates wrote down. And one thing that I've always done is I always print off a separate calendar just for December. And yes, I write down those special days for concerts or parties or programs or special church services, but I also write down the things I want to do, like hot cocoa and roasting marshmallows at the fire pit night. I write down those special activities because I don't want to look back and realize, oh, we didn't have Grinch movie night, or oh, we didn't have game night, or oh, we didn't go to the Christmas parade. I just don't want to wake up January 2nd and think, where did my holiday season go? Now, I wish I had the perfect organizing tips that would give us all more hours in the day. Wouldn't that be great? But I don't. But my biggest tip is, even though it's difficult, sometimes you just have to pick and choose, and sometimes you can't go to every event, every party, or every Christmas bazaar. I compare it to like going to the buffet. There's so many beautiful and delicious foods to look and try, but we all know we can't have them all. And sometimes we all just try to get a little bite of this and a little bite of that, but before you know it, your plate's too full. So I adjust my schedule accordingly. And when I'm filling up my holiday calendar, I think to myself, will this event be memorable? Will I remember it 5 years from now? Can I go to this event next year? I ask myself those tough questions. Am I going out of obligation? Am I going out of guilt? Or am I going because it brings me joy and adds to my holiday season? These are just some of the things to think about. Well, Tidy Uppers, that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this video gave you some new ways to try to stay organized and keep that stress level down there where it belongs during the holiday season. Remember, instead of just trying to create a perfect holiday, let's just try to be perfectly happy during the holidays. And I think if we do that, we'll all be good to go. Well, thank you again for joining me. Please take care of yourself. And until I see you in the next one, stay tidy.